Well, this is Pete Molinari, and well, I'll be honest about how I came across Pete. Mercury Music Award judge, and if you do that, a man knocks at your door and enters your house with like boxes and boxes of CDs which you have to listen to. And I'm going through all of this stuff, and I discovered Pete, and I have to be completely honest once again that I'd never ever heard any of your music, and I just fell totally in love with it. And it was an album that I kept playing and playing and playing. Nominated you, didn't get anywhere, but I do have the kiss of death.
Okay, you do.
But no, fantastic, and that's how we, ended up being in touch with each other, and you've done sessions for me. So how's it going?
It's going good, yeah. It's going great. I mean, I've kind of like had a past year of, I'm always keeping busy and playing shows, but I've had the kind of past year of, that, never a year out, but just a year just working on material and kind of, finding the next step to the next record as such, I guess, or the next foot forward, what you want to do.
So what, do you have some kind of visional plan in your head, or do you just go where it takes you?
I guess, yeah, you have some kind of vision for it. It usually never turns out that way, exactly, which is a good thing, because you've got to have, I think you have to have some room for improvisation, room for things to happen spontaneously.
So in that case, if I said Billy Childish, for those of you who don't know, and just check out Billy Childish, he's an absolutely fantastic artist who's been quite hidden for years, but really is sort of getting the recognition now, isn't he?
Yeah.
And you ended up working with him.
I did. I kind of known Billy for a long time now. I mean, that came down from me knowing him kind of since I was a kid. In a way, I'm from Chatham. I'm from literally the same area as him, and first discovered his books of poetry and his paintings when I was at school. Got into a bit of trouble for it, as you can guess. School teachers don't like that kind of stuff. Your English teachers don't like that kind of stuff that much.
No.
But and then we just became friends, and he's been pretty much. It was amazing to make a record with him, but also to play shows with him, and just to learn from someone like that has been, I mean, I wouldn't actually say there's too many people I've learnt from firsthand. I think maybe him and Liam from Tureg, but I think other than that, mainly people on record that I listen to, but firsthand Billy's someone who's, I don't want to mention the word hero and all that kind of stuff, but he fits into that category for me,
So going back to discovering music, I mean, what was going around on the turntable that inspired you?
Oh, all sorts of things, really. I was fortunate, I'd say, to have come from a big family and have older brothers that knew of Billy as well. But my uncles and brothers, similar to Richard Hawley's story in a way, I think he had those influences as well from his family. But I think mainly my brothers were listening to Little Richard and Jim Reeves and Hank Williams and Billie Holiday and Ray Charles, and endless amounts of amazing things that I was fortunate enough to get these records from them, listen to them, sit there and watch them go around on a turntable.
And all of those reference points are American.
Yeah, pretty much. I think mainly what went on in my household was mainly American influence from film, and my first love of anything was for Charlie Chaplin when I was a kid. For some reason, I had this obsession, maybe still do to a degree, but that was my first discovery of something artistic. I think, watching his films and the way he did things, and then and I had family that lived in they still do live in San Francisco, and they used to come over quite a lot, and with them used to bring books with them. Where I first, I remember my cousin and my uncle that lived over there gave me Woody Guthrie's Bound for Glory and Kerouac's On the Road and all of this stuff, and I was like a lucky 10-year-old that got to read these books and listen to these records. And I think they had quite an influence on my older brothers, and so it passed down to me,
So when I was a kid, now because I always wanted to be an actress, so I'm watching telly and I wanted a heaving bosom, like the femme in the movie, or I wanted to be Bette Davis or whatever.
Yeah.
You obviously had visions of being a musician and going to America, which you've done.
Yeah, I think definitely going. I had this idealism, I think, about America being this place where you could be free, which I think it's always stood for that in a way to an artist. I don't know. It's kind of there's a great illusion to that too. Because when you go there, you realise you're not that free.
I was going to say, yeah.
But I think you're actually probably more free in England, maybe. But
well, no, if you look at the States, it's like a lot of different countries, isn't it?
it is, and I think it's still an amazing place. And you know, I realise from my times living in, you know, being in New York and Nashville and New Orleans and LA, and being fortunate enough to travel to these places. You realise how amazing they are. The places you've read about. You know, films you've seen of Marlon Brando, all this kind of stuff, and also you do start to realise that you're not American, you know, and you're kind of like you're from Europe, and it's even more exciting. You're kind of glad. I think you come to appreciate it maybe even more because you've read about all of these things and read all these stories, and you know, being idealistic about the place was great. But I tend to kind of like everywhere I go to now. You know, at one point it was all America, 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 and now I enjoy as much being in London as much going to France or wherever. You know.
But also, do you think that's because the world has kind of changed and it embraces all manner of things now?
Yeah, I think I enjoy the kind of culture. You know, as well. Obviously, my parents are. You know, they come from a European background, so I had that going on quite heavily in my household, and then along with that, being brought up in a place like Chatham, which is quite a rough neighbourhood, you know, it's kind of being brought up in Chatham, going to those schools, being in my house with, you know, the Maltese, Italian background, and then, I don't know, it's kind of really, I don't want to use the word strange, but a really strange mix of things going on that I guess helped me follow this crazy path. You would have to be a little bit crazy to do. You know?
But you choose a path, I mean, which I think is great.
Yeah.
But you choose a path that might not necessarily, unless it changes, bring you huge, you know, fame, chart success, that kind of thing. That's what's important to you.
No, not really. I'd say definitely not. I mean, everyone likes. I'm not going to kind of lie and say that I don't enjoy doing this, and I don't enjoy being on the radio, and I don't enjoy playing in front of crowds. I enjoy it, you know. I enjoy the possibility of more and more people liking what I do, but I definitely don't have that as a goal. I don't have that as a, you know, first goal. Definitely, when it comes to making the music. Otherwise, I think that's probably a bad thing. I'd rather kind of keep with, you know, making the music that I want to make, and then whatever happens once you put it out there, who knows? You know, just kind of. What happens, doesn't it? People either like it or they don't, but I want to like it, you know.
Long may you continue, because I think you make great music. Molinari.
Thanks very much.